Hi, this is Leigh Ambergy, stampwithleigh.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mentor, Ohio, and thank you for joining me on today's video. What I'm going to feature today is a Halloween card, and I made one portrait landscape. It's going to work either way, and then I also had paper left over, so I just added designer series paper to the flap of the card, just a little something extra. And this stamp set is the Party Celebrations. It's an online exclusive. And I also use the Forever Plaid embossing folder. So let's get started. It's a very simple card. And I am just starting with, maybe better put my cheaters on before I get started. I'm starting with a 5.5 by 8.5 basic white cardstock. And that's going to be our card base. I'm just burnishing with the bone folder. Off camera, I ran my Timid Tiger through the embossing folder. And on this card, I featured it with the embossed side, which is this side. This card, I featured the debossed. So it's just the other side, and just so you can see the difference. Some embossing folders you can do that with, some it doesn't look so good. So I think I'll just keep it this way for this one, and I am still going to, I think, do it the landscape. So that's this piece. Next, I have a piece of basic black two-tone cardstock. So you can see the two different tones. And all I did was take the Spotlight on Nature die and I ran it through this piece of cardstock because it's going to be covered up. Yes, I could have fished around to see if I had a scrap piece that would work, but if you know you're going to be covering something up, you're going to be layering, then if your die cut will fit so that nothing peeks through, go ahead and use the same piece of paper. You know, I'm all for getting the most I can out of my products. Yeah, let's just let's sometimes work smart and stretch our supplies as far as we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this onto there, my tape runner. And if you have not tried out our two-tone cardstock, give it a try. I love it. Number one, it gives you two different tones with two different looks. But also, this is great for layering. It's not as heavy as Stampin' Up! Cardstock, but it's a little bit heavier than our designer series paper. So it's kind of a cross between the two. And I'm going to see if I can get this semi-centered. If you've watched any of my videos, you know sometimes it's a struggle. Yeah, we do the best we can. All right, now I'm going to put this onto my card base. And again, I'm going to hopefully try to get this centered. But again, no guarantees. So this is just going to go right there. Also off camera, I took the Stylish Shapes dies and I die cut a circle from our basic white. My normal rule of thumb is stamp first and then die cut and punch. Sometimes that doesn't work out too well. It's too hard to figure out how to place something. And since the stamp set I'm using is photopolymer, I know exactly where I'm stamping once I have die cut something. So I have my pumpkin. I've got my Timid Tiger ink. And I am going to ink this up. Get a really good coating on here. And another little tip. If you have a solid image stamp, especially a photopolymer, always make sure that you clean it first with your chamois or your Stampin' Scrub. And also, after that, tap it onto your hand to try and get some of the tack, the stick out of it. But also, with the photopolymer, you need to make sure that you let your stamp have good contact with your paper. I know we just tap, 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 press down and lift up, but because of this solid image stamp, you need to give it a little bit more time for the ink to transfer to the paper. There we go. Okay, I'm going to ink this up one more time. And I'm going to stamp again over here. And again, letting that have contact with the paper. Ooh, okay. And I'm also using my Stampin' Pierce mat to make sure I get a good crisp image. It gives it some cushion, a little bit of cushion. We were so used to our red rubber stamps, our cling stamps, you know, has that little bit of foam for a cushion. You never had to worry about that, but with the photopolymer you do. So now I have the stem to this pumpkin, and I do have to get sort of my head right on top of this to line it up. And I am stamping this with pecan pie. Okie dokes. So far, so good. All right, I, off camera, have stamped the same pumpkin on a piece of scrap basic white, and then the little face, this is a little face, it's all one piece. I stamped that in Memento Tuxedo Black, and then I added, I don't know if you can tell, some Wink of Stella to the face. So we're going to build that layer right there. So let's, let's do this. Let me put my basic black down. Okay, now on this one, I want to add some dimensionals. So do I have, yep, I got some over here. I never know what my little holder's going to have in there. If I'm actually going to have real pieces of dimensionals or just the scraps left over. Okay, so we'll remove the backing on those. All right. Oh, and I forgot to stamp my trick or treat. That's not going to work well because this is all poofy. So let's peel these off. So it never happens when you're live on TV. I didn't even think about my greeting, but that's no big deal. We'll peel these off. That'll give me a flat surface to stamp on. And then we'll do it all over again. No mistakes with stamping, just creative ways to do things. Okay, there we go. This should be okay. All right, so I've got my trick or treat here. And this is from the Fright Night bundle. That's, I don't remember if that's online. I think that is online also. Let me pull out let me get a scrap piece of paper here. Okay, I'm going in the right direction. That's a start. All right, I'm going to stamp my greeting here at the top. Ooh, came out good. Cover that up. And then we're going to do it all over again. Now we're going to put our dimensionals on the back of here. Again. And that one's got a little piece of one. Just put another little piece right there. There we go. All right. Let's attach our focal point 2.0. Okay. I'm going to get this on here. I can get that kind of centered. Looks good. I already have the dimensionals on the back of my little pumpkin. That again, I fussy cut. I'm going to add that here. Right like that. And on this one, I stamped the bats. from the party celebration. And those are kind of large afterwards. And after the fact, I also put one on the envelope. I was like, why didn't you stamp a pumpkin on the inside? Because this is just blank inside. So let's see if I can get my pumpkin back on here and not stamp it and not mess it up. But again, there's always ways to correct it if I do have a little boo-boo going on. All right, so we're going to put our little pumpkin here. Could have inked that a little bit more, but it's still going to work. Stamp my stem, and then now I'm going to pull the memento back out and stamp my jack-o'-lantern face. I want to get that good and inked up. It's a solid stamp, and let's put him right there. And again, giving that time for the ink to transfer to the paper. To the paper. There we go. And I had ink on my fingers, so we got a little boo-boo inside, but we'll try and fix that. But again, a very cute and easy Halloween card. And then I have some Timid Tiger in color flat pearls. And I've been struggling with these flat pearls. I love them, but sometimes they don't want to cooperate with me. And we're going to add one more right over here. So that's it. A really cute, easy Halloween card to send out. Just make sure you don't have inky fingers when you're working on it. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Bye.